Hey everyone, another video for you. This is angles associated with parallel lines, and one thing I want you to notice at the bottom of the front page of your note packet here, you have this list in a box, and we're going to add something right above that box in a minute. So what I want to look at is this first exercise here. And I put this up here. This is also on your note packet. It says parallel lines are lines that never cross. This you should know from elementary school. Alright? And even though these two lines here, it says are L1, L sub 1, and L sub 2, that means line number 1 and line number 2 parallel. It says, are they parallel? Well, here they are, right here. Here's L1, and here's L2. And even though they don't cross on the picture, what we need you to do is imagine if I extended these lines and they kept going the way they were going. Let me get my pen on here so I can draw. Alright, if they were extended and they kept on going the way they were going, eventually these two lines would cross. Okay? So even if it's not on the picture that they're not going to, or they don't cross, you have to imagine that they're going to extend each way forever, because lines do that. Lines keep going. Alright, and really most of the times in math books we have little arrows on the ends of these lines, which even tell you even further that they go on forever. Alright, so these two lines, no, they're definitely not parallel. So even though I have this list over here, identify the corresponding vertical, alternate interior, and alternate exterior angles. We're not going to do that for this picture, because we only want to do that if you have a set of parallel lines. Alright, so what I want you to draw on top of this box, and I'm going to switch layers here, so that's going to take away that red mark. Well, I can put that, that's okay. What I want you to do is on top of this box, I want you to put in big letters, only with parallel lines. Okay, only with parallel lines do these things hold. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about. If we have parallel lines, these four things hold. Corresponding angles are congruent, vertical angles are congruent, alternate interior angles are congruent, and alternate exterior angles are congruent. Okay, so I'm going to turn this other layer off. I'm going to turn the second exercise, which is on the next page of your note packet, and up here we say, well look, we're already going to tell you that these are parallel. L1, which is right here, and L2 are parallel. And let's just name the different types of angles here. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is imagine if I could cut out, I'll put a little box around here. Okay, if I could cut that out and I could lift it off the page and I could transfer it, in other words, if I could translate that little section straight on down this line and put it over top of this section right there, I'd have some angles that would match up, meaning they would be on top of each other. So if I could do that, you'd see that angle 2 right here, and I'm going to list these over here. Angle 2 would correspond with angle 6. Alright, this one right here would correspond with angle 6. Alright, and angle 1 right here, well, that one would correspond with angle 5. Alright, and we call those corresponding angles. The terminology correspond, really means to match up with one another. Okay, angle 3, this one right here, would match up with angle 7. So I'm going to list those over here, and I'm using a little arrow to show that one is corresponding with the other. You could put just a little comma that they're going to match up. And angle 4 Alright, angle 4 is corresponding with angle 8. Okay? So since these two are parallel, and what we call this is two parallel lines cut by a transversal. That's what this line would be, is a transversal. Okay? What we would call these are corresponding angles, and what I could do is I could put some actual degrees on here. If I could say this was 120 degrees, this angle right here, well, that would tell me that angle 6 is also 120 degrees, since they are corresponding. Alright, they are congruent with each other. And I could do the same over here. I could say this one was 60 degrees, and if angle 1 is 60 degrees, that means that angle 5 is also 60 degrees because they're corresponding. Alright? Okay, so I'm going to see if I can clean this up a little bit. Oops. Alrighty, so I cleaned everything up a little bit. Of course, you can leave your corresponding angles right there, but now let's talk about vertical angles. Alright, vertical angles are very easy. You don't even have to jump from one set of angles to another. We still have one set of parallel lines here, cut by one transversal. Alright, but I want to focus in on just this set of angles right here. And we have what we call vertical angles. Vertical angles are very easy to see. Whenever you have one line cut by another line, alright, or crossed by another line, you get two sets of vertical angles. And sometimes we call them opposite, because if you go across the intersection point, you now have matched up sets of vertical angles. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 3 are a set of vertical angles. Angle 2 and angle 4 are a set of vertical angles. And again, look at my little list over here. Vertical angles are congruent. So if I put this was 120 degrees like I did before, I would also know that angle 4 is 120 degrees. Alright? Now from a minute ago when we said we had corresponding angles, well, angle 2 would also be corresponding with angle 6, so we know that's 120. And angle 4 is corresponding with angle 8, so we know that's 120. And again, look at they're vertical angles with each other, and they're the same. So it follows, it like checks each other. Alright? So we also have another set of vertical angles, 1 and 3. Alright? Let's say this was 60 degrees, like we said before. Well, since these are vertical, 3 is also 60 degrees. Okay, and you can see that 1 corresponds with 5, so that is 60. And 3 corresponds with 7, so that is 60. And look, they are vertical angles as well. Alright, they go across that intersection point. So I'm just going to list the others over here. Let's see, we have 3 and... Whoops, not 3 and 1. I got to go down to the other one. Let me take that out of here. Okay, let's see, angle 5 and angle 7 are vertical angles. Angle 6 and angle 8 are also vertical angles. Okay, and again, that is true of any two lines that intersect. I could just draw a quick one right over here. I could say, well, look, here's two lines that intersect, and put my little arrows. That means this angle and this angle. They are vertical angles. Alright, and I go over to blue here. This angle, whoops, blue, yes, this angle and this angle. Those are vertical angles. You go across the intersection point. Okay, so vertical angles, not really a big deal. They're pretty easy. Okay, now we've got some others here. Alternate interior. I'd like to clean off my picture again, so give me a minute to do that. Okay, so I cleaned up exercise 2 a little bit, and so we can talk about these next two. Alternate interior. When you have the word interior, usually that means on the inside. Okay, so I'm keying in on that word interior right now. And if I look at these two parallel lines, well, if I want to go to the interior of these parallel lines, I would be from here to here. Alright, that would be on the interior of the parallel lines. So then I go to this word alternate, and alternate means to go back and forth. Alrighty? So if I go on the interior of the parallel lines, and I go back and forth across the transversal, Well, a pair of alternate interior angles would be this angle, and staying on the interior but going alternate, I'm going to go across the other side of the transversal. Okay? And so that means angle 4 and angle 6 are a pair of alternate interior angles. Alright? And if you notice my little list down here, it says that alternate interior angles are congruent. Alright? As long as these lines are parallel. Alright? Also, I can switch over to blue here. I could have this pair of alternate interior angles. That one, again, I'm on the interior of the parallel lines, and I'm going to alternate to the other side of the transversal. So angle 5 and angle 3 are alternate interior angles. They're a pair. And again, they are congruent. So if I put, what have we been using, 120 on this one? Well, I know that this one is 120 because they are a pair of alternate interior angles. Okay, if I put 60 on this one, then I know that this one is 60 degrees. Again, because they are alternate interior angles. Alrighty? Now, if you follow that, the next set are a pretty easy jump. Alternate exterior. Well, the exterior of those parallel lines would be out here, anything out here, and out here, anything on this side of the parallel line. So, do the same thing as what we just did, alternate exterior angles. If I started here at 1, I want to alternate across the transversal and stay on the exterior. That would match up with this one. So angle 1 and angle 7 would be a pair of alternate exterior angles. Alright, and again we can say if this was 60, then the alternate exterior angle, its pair, would also be 60. Notice these two are also vertical, so they're the same. These two are also vertical, so they're the same. Alrighty, and we've got one pair left. I'll switch over to red for those, and it's angle 2. That would be alternate exterior with angle 8. Okay, so angle 2 and angle 8. And I can go ahead and I can label them. That's 120. This would also be 120. Okay, again, notice these two are vertical. They're the same. These two are vertical. They're the same. Alrighty, so it all kind of comes together. We have these vertical, corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior. They all kind of come together and they check each other with their angles. Alright, so the last thing for tonight, let's put some actual numbers in here. Let's start with a fresh page, or a fresh picture, I should say. And we want to simply just label everything we can. So they tell us to start that this is 50 degrees. Oops, I got to turn this one on. Sorry about that. This is 50 degrees. So I'm going to label that. I'm going to make my 5 a little better here. Alright, this is 50 degrees right here. And I got that right there. And measure of angle 3 is 130. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to list all of these matches. So corresponding, let's see. Angle 1 is going to correspond from here. It's going to correspond right here with angle 3. Okay. Angle 2 is going to correspond, if I imagine picking this up and translating this whole section down, it's going to correspond with angle 4. Okay, well that's easy enough. Angle 8, I'm going to start up here. Angle 8 is going to correspond with angle 6. And angle 7 is going to correspond with angle 5. Okay? If I want to name the vertical angles, well, the vertical angles right here, 1 and 7. Alright, and 2 and 8, they're opposite angles. 2 and 8. Alright, if I go down to this section right here, 3 and 5 are opposite each other, so angle 3 and angle 5. And 4 and 6 are opposite each other. Put a little angle in there, okay? Alrighty, how about alternate interior angles? Alternate interior angles, if I start with 2, I go the other side of the transversal, and that would match up with angle 6. Alright, so I know those are the same. And angle 3, if I start right down here, I go to the other side of the transversal, that's angle 7. Alrighty, and then I have alternate exterior. I want to stay on the outside. If I start with angle 1, right up here, I go to the other side of the transversal, stay on the outside of the parallel lines, that would match up with angle 5. And angle 8, right up here, that would match up with angle 4. Alright, so I've labeled them all over here, and what I want to be able to do, the big finish, really the math part, is to be able to start with these angles and then label each one of these, see how much they are. Alright, so each one of these angles, you can match up corresponding angles, you can match up vertical angles, you can match up alternate interior or alternate exterior. There's many ways to do this. I like to look at vertical angles first. If this is 50, well, this one is also 50. Alright, because those two are vertical angles. And if this is 130, well, then this one is also 130. Alrighty? And let's see, what else could I say? Well, I could look at corresponding angles. This one corresponds with this one, which makes that 130. Oh, but now these two are vertical, so I know that's 130. This angle 8 right here is corresponding with angle 6, so that makes that a 50. And this one is vertical with this one, so that makes that a 50. Alright, and if you haven't noticed already, if you have a straight line, such as, that's not a very good straight line, such as this right here, these two always add up to 180. And look, you have a straight line here, these two add up to 180, and so on. These two add up to 180, and these two add up to 180. So whenever you have a straight line, the angles that form that straight line, they have to add up to 180. That's a little trick to help you as well. Alright? So, that is really about it. What I expect you to be able to do is to name the corresponding angles, the vertical angles, the alternate interior angles, and the alternate exterior angles. And then if I were to give you a degree measure over here, I give you a picture similar to this, I give you the degree measure, you should be able to fill in what each one of these angles are using these pairs over here, okay? So it's very similar to lots of other things where the more you do it, you do 3 or 4 of them, you really get the hang of it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.